In 1963, two analog engineers, David Paul Gregg and James Russell, released their patent for a new analog media format called the optical disc. This new media format dramatically differed from the traditional VHS, using laser technology to transmit analog data from a large disc to a receiver. In 1968, Gregg and Russell's reader and disc design patents were purchased by MCA, who partnered with Philips to rework and market the optical disc. In December of 1978, 2 years after the release of the VCR, MCA and Philips released the first LaserDisc reader and film for the optical disc. The film they chose was Steven Spielberg's summer blockbuster film, Jaws. At the time, MCA decided to call the product DiscoVision because of the disc's reflective nature. Philips and MCA would then establish a razor and blade business model for LaserDisc, in which Philips produced the players and MCA created the discs. After some time, this formula was proven dramatically unsuccessful. At the turn of the decade, however, the disc was flipped, and Pioneer Electronics purchased the majority stake in DiscoVision and renamed it to the familiar LaserDisc. Despite the early struggles, in 1981, the LaserDisc was introduced to the international market, finding success in Asian countries, specifically in Japan. Pioneer's record explosion of growth was solely because of the karaoke industry that dominated Japan at the time, selling over 3.6 million players in its lifespan. A full-size LaserDisc is typically 30 centimeters in diameter and comprises two transparent polycarbonate layers with information encoded in circular grooves on the inner surface, similar to that of a vinyl record. Once a disc is inserted into a reader, an infrared laser transmits the analog video signal from the lined markings on the disc. The LaserDisc is at a constant rotational speed of 1800 RPM for the entire playback duration, regardless of which part of the disc is being read. Some players, however, have a feature called CAV mode, or constant angular velocity, that maintains a constant rotational speed but can vary in playback speed. In addition to analog video, LaserDiscs carry an analog audio track capable of producing a stereo or surround sound output. The LaserDisc and LaserDisc reader created a revolutionary new way to watch and store media inside your home. Despite the early success of LaserDisc, the iconic VHS was always miles ahead in the home video race. For perspective, only 16.8 million LaserDisc players were sold in the brand's lifetime. Compared to the VHS, 11.5 million VCRs were sold in the US in just 1985 alone. When looking at the VHS's lifespan, consumers have spent over $12 billion on just VHS rentals and purchases. By the turn of the millennium, LaserDisc had been beaten to submission. While many will go to the grave to say that VHS is better than LaserDisc, several arguments could still put LaserDisc ahead. One significant advantage of LaserDiscs was their night and day difference in quality, with the ability to show sharp images and produce audio for surround sound systems, which VHS lacked. LaserDiscs could also access specific frames, which was helpful for frame-by-frame playback, making them popular for educational and professional video applications. LaserDiscs were also relatively robust and can withstand minor scratches and handling without severe data loss. This is a clear advantage over magnetic VHS tapes, which heavily wear over time. LaserDiscs often have menus, chapters, and track selection features, allowing viewers to jump to specific scenes or segments within the content. On a similar note, LaserDiscs were also made into video games. Dragon's Lair became the third highest selling video game in 1983, earning an estimated $32 million. LaserDiscs also took advantage of the change to widescreen, being an early adopter of the 16:9 aspect ratio. Despite all the benefits, LaserDiscs have several limitations, including the inability to record, challenging portability, limited storage capacity, and the need to flip the disc to access the content on the other side. At the end of the day, this battle between VHS and LaserDisc came strictly down to convenience. While LaserDisc was of higher quality, VHS was king because it was cheap and portable. Despite your views on the issue, the invention of the digital format shot down both VHS and LaserDisc for good. Between 1983 and 1985, Sony and other computer companies like Microsoft developed and standardized the first ever CD-ROM. The compact disc could hold mountains of data through a new digital encoding process and displayed a higher definition and playback quality that had not been done before. Digital became the industry standard and sent analog to the execution block. Even with the invention of the internet and streaming services, CDs and DVDs are still miles ahead in quality, but the format will never win because of streaming's cheapness and convenience, much like the reign of VHS over LaserDisc. The LaserDisc would have its final major release in October of 2000. It would be entirely replaced by the DVD in 2001, and Pioneer would discontinue the LaserDisc in 2009. While analog mediums are a dead relic of the past, the legacy of the laser lives on. The LaserDisc laid the foundation for early media storage, was a stepping stone to the compact disc, and revealed the human desire for home media and high-quality video collecting.